Thank you all for listening to those announcements. And now, we have our do now on the board. Why does Maverick want to help Devontae? Now, last time we were in class, we talked about why Uncle Carlos wanted to help Devontae. And in that, when we read that excerpt, it also talked about Maverick wanting to help Devontae. So this time, give us your opinion on why you think Maverick wants to help Devontae. Going to put 5 minutes on the clock. Be sure to explain your answer. Remember, the most important thing to do is try to write that full 5 minutes. Okay. Isaiah's writing. Yes, sir. You good? Okay. Yes, okay. We have a little over a minute left. All right. Everybody finish up that last sentence. Who would like to share today? We're going to have 2 people share. Who would like to share their answer? I saw some good answers when I was walking around. Have anybody you'd like to share, or do I need to go to the sticks? Oh, thank you, Santiago.
Because he knows what it's like leaving,
A little louder for me, please.
because he knows what it's like leaving the drug business and he knows the consequences.
Okay. Good answer. Yes, Zakai.
Because he felt bad for Devontae because when he got to steal the money from King, he felt bad because he knows how dangerous King could get since he's like the leader of the dudes, whoever the gang. So yeah, he felt bad for him, so he did a good job.
All right, yeah. Anybody else want to share before we move on? We have a lot we're doing today. So we're going to shorten our share time unless somebody just has to say something. All right, there we go. We will move on. Here are our class objectives today. Laura, would you please read the first class objective for me?
I will write a paragraph using the race method.
Thank you. And Derek, will you read the second?
Identify the parts of a tissue.
Thank you. And Isaiah, would you read the third one?
I will use names, characterizations, and the plot from the head you give to plan and create an interview presentation.
Yes, thank you. I know that sounds like a lot, but we're not going to do it all at once, okay? So, I know we've been talking about the race method. And if I could have some help, Xavier, would you pass one of these out to everybody for me? Lori, you want to pass these out for me? All right. Isaiah, will you help me out?
Yeah.
Give everybody one of those.
I was trying around second.
Thank you. It's a graphic organizer to help you use the race theory. And it has R, A, C, E, and a space for each one. So what I did was I kind of filled it out, but I didn't fill it out on the graphic organizer because I couldn't get that to come up on my computer. So you'll just have to kind of follow along on yours. But the R stands for restate the question. So I thought of a question that you guys might want to ask. Miss Pam, why are we reviewing race again? Can I restate the question here? We are reviewing race again because we need to get into the habit of using it when we write. Then we go to the A portion. Now remember, there's my question still up there. That's the question I'm going to answer. Race is a method that is an easy way to organize your writing. Thank you. Thank you, Xavier. Now we're to the C portion. Just to recap for Isaiah and Xavier, the R is for restate the question. The A is for answer the question. The C is for cite the evidence. I was reading an article on how to teach the race method. Pretty boring article, but I learned some stuff. So I picked this from that article. And you can see I let it in with, according to the text, the race strategy is good because the importance put on restating the question and the fact that the students have to take their answer a step further by explaining the evidence they cited supports their answer. And just by what I cited, you could see it was an article that taught me a lot, but I don't think you guys want to look at it. And then the E, the hardest part, at least for me, the explain part. After reading about the race method, I understand why it's important to organize my writing with all of the components of race. Does anybody have any questions on what to do with the graphic organizer? All right. Now, if you will follow along with the text that Isaiah, forgot a part. Here we go. We put it all together. Oh my goodness, it's late in the day. We put it all together. And I kind of have it color-coded here. We're reviewing race because we need to get into the habit of using it when we write. That is my restating the question. Race is a method that is an easy way to organize writing. That was my answer to the question. My lead-in, according to the text, the race strategy is good because of the importance it puts on restating the question and the fact that the students have to take their answer a step further by explaining how the evidence they cited supports their answer. That's my citing to support my answer. And then my explain. After reading about the race method, I understand why it's important to organize my writing with all of the components of race. And now we're going to use the graphic organizer to answer this question. How did Star honor Khalil's life during the interview? And as you can see, I have a typo here, so we'll scratch that up. Before we get to writing, I'm going to read this to you, and I am starting right here. Millions of people around the world, which is about a third down on the top page. Yes, Sadie. In a little bit. A little bit, you can get some water after we've read the article, okay, Sadie? So would everybody please find millions of people around the world have heard the name Khalil Harris. As you can see, it's a couple of paragraphs down. While I'm reading it, I want you to think about that sentence and underline evidence in this that you think you can use in your paragraph to support your answer. Millions of people around the world have heard the name Khalil Harris, she says, and they've developed their own ideas of who he was. Who was he to you? More than he may have ever realized. One of my best friends, I say. We knew each other since we were babies. If he were here, he'd point out that he was 5 months, 2 weeks, and 3 days older than me. We both chuckle at that, but that's who Khalil was. It hurts to correct myself. He was a jokester. Even when things were hard, he'd somehow find some light in it. And my voice cracks. I know it's corny, but I think he's here. His nosy ass would show up to make sure I say the right things. Probably calling me his #1 fan or some annoying title that only Khalil could think of. I miss that boy. He had a big heart, I say. I know that some people call him a thug, but if you knew him, you'd know that wasn't the case at all. Now, we'll stop for just a minute there, because do you think that last sentence that I read is one of the ways that Star honored Khalil's life during this interview? How do we honor somebody's life? What do we say? How do we talk about them? Yes.
You say positive things about the person.
Thank you. So, my advice would be I would underline, I know that some people call him a thug, but if you knew him, you'd know that wasn't the case at all. And so I'll help you out with that first one, but there are others in here that you'll find. I'm not saying he was an angel or anything, but he wasn't a bad person. He was a kid. She nods. He was a kid. He was a kid. What do you think about people who focus on the not so good aspect of him? She asks. The fact that he may have sold drugs. Miss Oprah once said that this is how I fight, with my voice. So I fight. I hate it, I say. If people knew why he sold drugs, they wouldn't talk about him that way. Mrs. Carey sits up a little. Why did he sell them? I glance at Miss Oprah, and she shakes her head. During all our prep meetings, she advised me not to go into details about Khalil selling drugs. She said the public doesn't have to know about that. But then I look at the camera, suddenly aware that millions of people will watch this in a few days. King may be one of them. Although his threat is loud in my head, it's not nearly as loud as what Kenya said that day in the store. Khalil would defend me. I should defend him. So I gear up to throw a punch. Khalil's mom is a drug addict, I tell Mrs. Carey. Anybody who knew how much that bothered him and how much he hated drugs. He only sold them to help her out of a situation with the biggest drug dealer and gang leader in our neighborhood. Miss Oprah noticeably sighs. My parents have wide eyes. It's dry snitching, but it's snitching. Anybody who knows anything about Garden Heights will know exactly who I'm talking about. If they watch Mr. Lewis's interview, they can figure it out. But hey, since King wants to go around the neighborhood lying and saying Khalil ripped his set, I can let the world know Khalil was forced to sell drugs for him. His mom's life was in danger, I say. That's the only reason he'd ever do something like that. And he wasn't a gang member. He wasn't? No, ma'am. He never wanted to fall into that type of life. But I guess I think about Devontae for some reason. I don't understand how everyone can make it seem like it's okay he got killed if he was a drug dealer and a gangbanger. A hook straight to the jaw. The media? Yes, ma'am. It seems like they always talk about what he may have said, what he may have done, what he may not have done. I didn't know a dead person could be charged in his own murder, you know? And I'm going to stop right there. And now, go to your practice sheet. Put your name at the top, of course, because I will be picking these up later on. And if you want to write this question where it says question, that's fine. The important parts that you need to do are the restate the question, answer the question, cite evidence, expand and explain. Those are the important parts you want to get done. And then you can combine all those sentences at the bottom to make a nice, neat little paragraph. I'm going to put 6 minutes on the clock. I think this group will have no problem getting this done in 6 minutes. Remember, you're going to cite evidence from the excerpt that I just read, that you should have picked some evidence out. You should have underlined some evidence. You're good. Mr. Kessler's room is Lawson. Okay, I'll get it for you. Uh-huh, bye-bye. While you're finishing, I need to enter attendance. Then I'll put it right back on the question. Thank you for your patience. All right, we've got 3 minutes, 30 seconds left. Oh, it's fine. Start. And let's start. What do we ask? Stars. Mm-hmm. Who's she? Who's she on? What is she on? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what he said. Mm-hmm. What is that? I don't know what's on stage yet. What's that? It's a big thing. Oh, it's this one. There you go. Read this. Is that a whole sentence? Alright. What is it? What is it? Yes. Alright, what do you have? Listen. Now, find something in here that makes you think this. Remember, I'll read into your text. You have some underlines so you know where you're going. That's a good question. All right,
Oh my God.
give me one moment. All right, show me 1 to 3. Do we need any more minutes?
Yes.
Well, I see a lot of 3s, so I'm putting up 2. Because I'm contrary like that.
Sorry.
Plus it takes me about 30 seconds. You want to restate the question? Yeah. So here's our question. It's a good start. During the interview. How did it start on the career start during the interview? Not the whole question. We're going to take this and restate it into a statement. Star. What? So we want to restate this question. So we're going to use those words in the question. So star definitely, right? So that's who you're talking about, right? There you go. Expand and explain after you recite evidence. You can come down here and you can add a sentence that explains why that citation is a good citation. I usually say out there, I know this because I was, and I think this because, but you can start out with a lot of different things. Good. What are we gonna do with this before we let it run here? What are we doing? And always have a what? No, listen.
Quotation?
You got the quotations. Read it. What's that reading? Teacher's love.
Oh, in the text.
Yeah. That's just good info. There we go. All right. Don't worry if you didn't get all of that done. Just set it aside. And we're going to move on. That was practice. And we're going to have more time to practice. Now we're going to look into parts of the interview. And the reason we're doing this is we're going to be developing an interview. And I'm going to be handing you guys some Monopoly money. You're welcome. And that's because when we're studying parts of the interview, I'm going to have certain people study certain parts. So, the parts of an interview are the introduction. And the introduction is always the first thing that happens. It kind of, well, it doesn't. It's the part of the interview that tells the audience who you are speaking to and what event you're talking about. The next part of the interview is the biggest part of the interview. It's the information exchange, which is a really big, fancy term for the questions and the answers. And the last thing is the wrap-up. The wrap-up is when somebody will say, thank you for coming. This is Miss Pam, and she's talking to you about the parts of an interview. So, you have a piece of Monopoly money. Right? Everybody hold up your piece of Monopoly money. Great. I need the fives come over here. This general area. The ones come to this general area. And the tens come to this area. You have 30 seconds. Fives are here. Ones are here. Tens are here. After this is done. And here are my fives. How many fives do I have? I think we're going to need 2 for fives, so that it's easier for you guys to look at those together. All right? Oh, Benny, did you get a piece of Monopoly money? Well, you would know if you had it. Would you please come join the ones? In front of you, you have the Angie Thomas interview that we listened to. And this is the transcript. The ones, I want you guys to identify the introduction in that interview. The fives are going to identify the information exchange in the interview, and the tens are going to identify the wrap-up. Now what I want you to do is I want you to have at least one sentence. Information exchange needs two parts of each of your parts. At least one sentence of each of your parts. I am going to put 3 minutes on the clock. All right, 3 minutes there. You guys are looking for the introduction. The introduction, you have to decide who's going to talk. Be sure to decide who's going to talk. If you want 2 people to talk, in your case, that's fine. You could have one do one part and one do the other part. You need to decide over here who's going to talk. You have to pick something. Two things from the information exchange. 2 things from the information exchange. Now, remember what the information exchange is. What is that? That's the what. So, if you need 2 things, what do you think you need? There you go, bingo. Are you helping your group?
This one
Identify the information.
yeah, both of you are reading.
You wanna read
Fancy term for what?
this part.
Here's the part.
Oh,
Here.
Yeah.
And he's gonna read,
Or what? Yeah.
so you're gonna read what? Choose. You're gonna read here. Here. No, not.
I wish it was.
Join that. Santiago's gonna join this group, filling in.
He is reading this. He's reading from here to
He looks like a
here. And you are reading from, okay, he is reading it here. That's right, he's reading here. He's reading from here to here. That's him. Somebody reading from here
Right, okay.
to here. We don't just right there. Okay? So whoever got this part, may not be on it all. This one.
All right.
Start from here.
Has everybody made their choices? I know wrap-ups told me they're finished. How about introduction? You guys are finished? And my information exchange group?
Yeah.
You're good? You know who's gonna talk?
Yeah.
Yes? So first, let's start with the introduction, because we might as well start with the introduction.
We're gonna go from
Everybody please give Isaiah your attention.
Alright. In A.G. Thomas' novel, Star Carter lives in a gang-ravaged area. He goes to a school where he's one of only a few black students. She talks with Lulu Garcia Navarro about her book, The Hate You Give.
Does everybody agree that sounds like an introduction?
yeah.
Good job. Let's move on to information exchange.
I went to a most of my other class by college here in Jackson, but I was in a neighborhood that's known for all around me, known for lack of clear woods. Color for hood. So I knew that I had to get serious of being ghetto.
You reading too fast.
Even harder, so I was person when I was getting reading, because my contact.
Thank you, Xavier.
Good job.
Does everybody agree that that's information exchange?
Yeah, say it.
The information exchange is what? It's what? It's information, but what does it consist of? Questions and answers. And our wrap-up group. Who is speaking for our wrap-up group? Real loud for me, Santiago.
Thanks. It was great to talk to you. Really.
There we go. Does everybody agree that's a wrap-up?
No. Thank you so much.
I agree, yeah.
All right, so, does it sound too difficult to develop an interview?
Yeah.
If we know all the parts?
No.
Okay. Now, stay with your groups.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna listen to, well, watch, a movie review of The Hate You Give. It's actually an interview between Sean Edwards, who is the movie critic for Fox right here in KC, and the cast of The Hate You Give. I want group one, identify the introduction by telling us who did the introduction. Group two, information exchange. Try to remember some phrase that was in the information exchange or the people who spoke. Yes, Mohammed?
How do we know the name of the people?
I couldn't hear that, I'm sorry.
How do we know the name of the people?
They show you. But if you don't know, just some words. All right? Just some words that you heard that was information exchange. And My wrap-up group, I need you to tell me what they said in the wrap-up, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
What does it take to create a healthier world? It takes students who see knowledge as a roadmap to wellness, who provide treatments and care, but above all things, hope.
The young adult genre explores much more than magic and romance in the new movie, The Hate You Give.
Well, in today's chapter, Star Shine Edwards asked the film's older actors about the movie's message on race and injustice.
Today, Garden Heights is reeling after the shooting of a 17-year-old black teenager by a white police officer.
We live in a complicated world.
It doesn't seem that complicated to me.
But I want to take a different angle on this and talk about the importance of the educational outreach with this film and what it means to you to help support that cause, to get more students and teachers to support it.
I think it's very important, and I think it's very important that you go to see this movie with someone who does not look like you.
It's best if she don't talk to father.
He's threatening her. It's about more than just color. It's about black people, poor people, everybody at the bottom.
And professionally, what does it mean to be a part of a project like this that is so well-rounded, that deals with a lot of subject matter that's so relevant today? It's very timely and extremely important.
It's an honor. I mean, to know that that I have something to offer. You know, this film, this story, and whatnot, and that there are that it's something we're being a part of. You know, that the story and that the book is so authentic and so real that that doing it is going to touch a lot of people and lift up some spirits and open people's eyes as well.
Violence, brutality. It's the same story, just a different name.
What was your experience like on set and interacting, especially with your character in particular and playing the mom, and getting to portray a woman that was so well-rounded, so thought out, and giving you a chance to just bring her to life in that way?
Russell and I, we got to create a dynamic and a relationship that you don't get to see between, black people a lot on screen. A married couple where the woman is still, strong and they make decisions together, but the man is still clearly head of household. And what would a relationship feel like if the man felt respected and the woman felt loved? By the time we stepped on set, it felt so right. So it was incredible.
Shorty, Fox 4 News.
Interesting what you just said there. Love and respect.
The Hate You Give is now in theaters. Join us tomorrow in the screening room when Sean and Russ tell us what they think about other movies opening in theaters this weekend.
Hey!
All right, so, group one, who did the introduction on this? Who said the introduction during the interview? Well,
The one guy that was in the chair.
okay.
I didn't catch his name.
Yeah, I didn't catch his name.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You mean the interviewer, or do you mean the newscasters? Because they both were sitting in chairs. They both kind of had a similar introduction. They did. They both had a little bit. Which one do you think was a better introduction? The one interviewer or the newscaster? You think he gave a better introduction with that first question? You don't think there was any good introduction? All right, that is a valid response. Definitely a valid response. All right, my group over here, my $5 group. So the information exchange. What did you hear as part of the information exchange? Excuse me. Thank you. We need to pay attention to the people talking. You'll get to talk soon. Fine. Please. Let's hear that again, Mohammed.
What's your experience on scene?
Okay, what's your experience? Yes, that was definitely in there. And what was the wrap up?
Okay, so
Were you here for the video?
Alright, find the example of your part of it. Alright, the wrap up was
This is in the video. What was the wrap up in the video?
oh, something I can still take that. Just said it already.
What's the question?
What was the wrap up in the video?
Oh, that lady was talking. And, she was talking about,
Was it when she said thank you?
oh yeah, she was talking about, husband and wife, talking about where the husband feels, she said the wife feels loved and the husband feels respected.
So you think that was a wrap up, or was that part of the information exchange?
Was that the last thing she said?
Was it when she said,
Wrap up isn't always done.
I don't know, he said.
when she said thank you, it was really very kind of you. That's in the paper. Same thing, alright?
Did any of you hear the wrap up?
No.
Say that again?
Oh, yeah.
The last part was the movie? And then it went back to the newscasters, and the newscasters said what?
How do you do it?
He didn't say any of that. He was here for the video. So, there wasn't really an actual wrap up in the interview itself. It went back to the newscasters, and they said, does anybody else know what the newscasters said that could be called the wrap up?
Oh, it was kind of going fast.
Yeah.
No.
I agree.
No, not really.
Yes,
No, I'm not going to play the video again. If I can make it go right to the end, but I don't think I can. So, what happened at the very end that would be called the wrap up? Can anybody help their group? All right. Let's try again, see if I can get this to forward to the end.
We are Pretty Little Thing. When it comes to what to wear, we've got you.
The young adult genre explores much more than magic and romance in the new movie, The Hate You Give.
Well, in today's chat with Star, Sean Edwards asked the film's older actors about the movies.
The time we stepped on set, we were.
Okay, watch
it
the
just-
ending.
I mean, it felt so right. So it was incredible.
Short Edwards, Fox 4 News.
Wow, interesting what you just said there.
Oh.
Love and respect.
The Hate You Give is now in theaters. Join us tomorrow in the screening room when Sean and Russ tell us what they think about other movies opening in theaters this weekend.
Hey.
All right, wrap up group. What was the wrap up? What was the wrap up?
The film has an amazing cast. Can you tell me what was your funniest or most memorable moment from filming?
Probably my most memorable.
There. What was the wrap up?
He said it was interesting what she said. He said a lot of
He actually said incredible.
No, I put that, and the last thing she said was, it was incredible.
It was incredible.
And when he said
All right.
And he said mad respect.
And he said mad respect.
It's in the movies.
And that was the end of the
And then, what did Sean Edwards say?
He said his name. No, he said his name. He said, it'll be screening in some theaters.
There you go. Thank you.
I was taking a leak.
Okay, now we're going to do the interview project.
Yeah.
We're going to be preparing an interview based on the characters and the events in this novel that we're reading, The Hate You Give. You can work alone, or you can work with a partner. It'll be easier to work with a partner. There can be no groups bigger than 3. 3 is the biggest group. And in an interview, what do you think? What's one character you're going to have in an interview?
Oh wait, the main character.
If you were going to do this by yourself, who would you be? Who would you be?
The reporter?
That's one character that you must have, is a reporter, okay? Now then, I am going to give you 1 minute to get your stuff and pick your group and sit near them. 1 minute. Go. Yes, go get water now. Come right back. Right now, or decide to be alone. I promise you, there's going to be more excitement. All right? All right. Thank you.
Yeah, right. He was saying
You have 15 seconds to get with your group. No groups bigger than 3. You can be alone if you want. It might be more difficult alone, but you can be alone. All right, has everybody got their group?
Yeah.
Okay. Isaiah, get your own chair. No, he needs his own chair. He can scoot it over here. Are you in their group? So you are with Sakai, Isaiah? No? Isaac?
Okay, so I'll tell you later. Maybe
Are you working alone? I'm handing you a packet. Are you working alone, little Benny? Xavier, are you working with a group or are you a loner? You're a loner? All right. All right, now. I want you to open your packet and get out the interview checklist. Open the packet. There's one interview checklist. Get that out, please. 30 seconds.
Oh, don't we have like 6 minutes? Don't we have
Please concentrate on what we're doing, Zakai.
So where's mine?
There's just one. There's only one interview checklist in the packet. One for the group. All right, let's look at this. Let's look up at the board. This is the interview checklist. I'm sorry, it's kind of small up here. Today, we're only going to worry about the setting. Does anybody know what that means? The setting?
The area. A place.
The what?
A scene, a place that has a scene. Like a place.
A place. And if it's a place and you're doing an interview, what would the place be for? Would it be for a dance? Or would it be for, what would it be for? What would it be for?
It would be for the dance.
It would not be for the dance. We're not doing a dance. What are we doing, guys? Zakai, what are we doing? Are we doing a dance or what are we gonna write? Tell me again. Isaac. Well, I call it writing. We're gonna develop what? Muhammad. What are we developing? What is our project gonna make? Thank you. And your setting will be the place where what happens.
Oh.
Ooh, sorry about that.
Hey,
Glad
yeah,
it
I
didn't
know
get
the
you.
answer.
Where what happens?
Where Star gets in. No, where the interview happens.
Where the interview happens. You're both correct.
I didn't even know the answer.
All right, now then, characters. We already, yes, Zakai.
May I have a paper?
Are you working alone?
Yes.
Or are you with a group?
I'm working on it.
Well, I am sorry, Zakai. I misunderstood you. I thought you were working with Isaac and Isaiah. Thank you for hanging in there and making me do the right thing.
No, because they said I couldn't hang out with them. So that's my name started with an I.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Your name ends with an I. So,
They said that.
now then, the second part. The second part says what? We have setting. What is your setting? Those go together, right? Then what's the next line say? Your character. Now we already said every interview has to have what character?
This is our last tornado drill of the year.
All right, here we go. Get your stuff. Leave your packets here. And we'll have to go back to this.
Third floor. Please make your way down the stairs. Quiet and safe. Going to the first floor. I'll play 7 bucks.